Welcome back to Marriage and Relationships. I'm Asikere, and tonight we are discussing Am I Called to Marriage? And before the break, we are talking about the age. When should a person get married? Mr. John Nganga, maybe we can continue from that point where we left.
And I want to take a step back. The theme of today's program is, Am I called to marriage? And we're emphasizing, you are called to marriage, but it's good to wait for the right time. But the issue of call to marriage, we haven't really tackled it as much, but it's a very, very critical thing. There are three things that can tell you whether you are called to marriage or not. Number one is biological. If you are a man and it doesn't matter how a woman is dressed, it doesn't affect you, you need to be careful and thinking about whether you are biologically created to be women. That's why I make young men laugh. Just last Sunday, I was speaking to a group of young men, and I was telling them, you need to be very careful with the girls who don't dress properly. Because when they don't dress properly, maybe the dress is too low from above or too high from below, an average boy in his 20s will automatically get affected, aroused, will get affected. So when it doesn't bother you, it should bother you. The fact that a girl can be half naked and it doesn't affect you may mean you are called to singlehood. Which therefore means, if the way a girl is dressed affects you, you should start by saying, oh, thank God I'm normal, then run away. Because you see, now that you know you are biologically okay, you should not stay there. You end up going to hell. So if you see a woman not well dressed, find a way of running away from her if you are normal. Of course, if you are abnormal, it doesn't make a difference. But it also means you should not get married. So that whole idea about being affected, the same thing with a girl, that a boy can touch you anywhere, it doesn't affect you. Do you wonder why people are bothered? It's not, there's nothing wrong. I never slept with him. He was only touching me. And we felt nothing. That may be an idea that you are called to be single. You should not be getting married. The way God has created us, boys and girls, after they become teenagers and beyond, must keep distance from one another because of the way God has created the chemistry between men and women. It's such a chemistry, and it's a good chemistry, because that's a chemistry that causes people to get married. So when you have that chemistry, you should start by saying, hallelujah, I am biologically normal. Number two, become careful that you don't relate with the opposite sex carelessly. That's why I normally tell boys, when I see them come out of the fellowship, and then they take a girl and they don't just peck, they squeeze the girl. In the name of the Lord, they say, if you actually can do it and you don't feel any difference, then it means you may be called to be single. If you squeeze them and feel something, it means you are immoral. That's why you need to be careful how a boy treats a girl they are not married to. There are ways you treat a wife that you can't treat a girlfriend. Because you see, a wife, you can finish what started. A girlfriend, you must leave. And you could necessarily see the devil use, you are embracing each other like that, could be what the devil will use to lead you into sin. So in answering, do I have the call of God for marriage? I think it would be important for us to come clearly and mention that part of it is physical, is biological. Number two, the call of God would also be seen psychologically. In other words, it would be important to see that when you have the call of God to marriage, you have a kind of a need to keep company. You will not be the type of person who feels you want to be alone, that anybody else is an interference. Somebody visits you and wondering, they have been here for an hour, when are they leaving? It might suggest to you that you are better off living single than getting married. Because if somebody who is going to go away is already disturbing you, what about if you marry a woman who will be with you everywhere? You can't lock the toilet, you wonder why are you locking when you're just the two of you in the house. What are you hiding? Now, if you are the type of a person who does not want, who wants alone, don't want anybody to see you naked, don't want, now you need to start understanding that maybe your most comfortable position is to be single, and you are better off psychologically not getting involved too closely with others. And so when you talk about, am I called to marriage, it will be important for you to ask. Thirdly, the third one people will not like. If nobody is available, in your mind you think you should be married, but there's no girl who seems to want to marry you. They seem to have formed a chorus of no. The first one, no. The second one, no. The third one, no. Everybody seems to have learned the chorus of no. You need to get to where you start understanding. Maybe God himself is the one saying no. Not forever, but for the time being. There's a ministry he wants you to accomplish for the time being, and any presence, if a girl said yes, you want to marry her, and you spoil the ministry. So it's important to start understanding that when God wants to get you married, you'll be surprised. The same people who have not been interested in you will become interested. The same people who you thought went to America will come back to Kenya and they are near you. God himself orchestrates the thing that will bring you into marriage. So, call to marriage, God will also provide somebody willing. You can't force somebody to marry you. God himself will have to get involved in preparing a person for you to be married. So back to the question of what will be the right age then. You can see it becomes very difficult to answer the question because in that case, the right age has also been God's age when he provides somebody to marry.
Thank you so much, Mr. John Ng'ang'a. And what are the challenges of marrying someone who is older?
Yes, whether it's Bogu marrying Omboyo Otieno, or it is Kariuki marrying Anoda Wanjiku, it needs to be understood that age is a challenge. Why is it a challenge? 3 reasons. Number 1, society will create a kind of an embargo on a marriage where somebody is younger than the other one. They start saying, what's wrong with them? They think there's something wrong. So you have to be ready to deal with that society. And that society may include your parents, may include your brothers. They may never even visit you. So you need to understand as you marry somebody older, especially when it's a boy marrying another woman. But it's also true when a girl marries her father's age mate. Yeah, so there will be the society that you have to deal with. Number 2, which will be important, you need to understand that biology is affected by age. When you have a girl who is 22 and a man who is 52, biologically there will be trouble. You know, even the way they run their romance, it's an issue. The man, after a short while, is tired. That time the girl is only starting. Now, you need to understand that with that understanding, and it's not that love is there, but the physical body has to cooperate. And the guy is 52, you are 22, there will be the challenge of, so both of you will know there will be an immediate challenge of something. Now, if it's the other way around, the boy is 122 and the woman is 42, they are going towards menopause. If they still want a child, there may be challenges of getting a child. Those are things that that age difference will certainly bring your way. And they can bear it. So the first one is societal, the other one is biological. That whether you are talking about the act of marriage, it will be affected by the difference in age. When this one is more active than the other one, or the other one gets tired earlier than the other one. Those are things that will be ruined. But thirdly, when you marry somebody much older than you, there is a problem of history. The things you start talking about 844, the guy never saw 844. He was in the other one. He said, you did that? You know, Like now, those of us who are my age mates, people who are over 65, we used to, in the Corona days, there was a book, an English book, where the child, that was done all over East Africa, where a child would travel from Kampala through Nairobi, then to Dar es Salaam. Coco and Kokogonza. I've not forgotten. If you ask anybody over 65, we'll talk about. That's how we learned English, with a book that following the trip of that family, all the way from Kampala to Coco and Kokogonza. So when we start talking to my wife, we start talking about Coco and Kokogonza. Now, if she's an 844, you must accept there is a generational issue that will certainly be a challenge when we are talking. Or we go to town, some small boys are running after her to greet her. And it's not that they mean evil. That's her age. And if you, what are you doing with such young boy people? But you forget that your age is that age. Now you need to understand there are challenges that to do with history. Looking back, the kind of company she has kept, the kind of generation, the kind of programs she would go for, you think that is noise. She's playing music, which you call noise. But to you it's noise, to her it's music. Now you need to understand all those. All those are challenges when you marry somebody older. But the next question is, does it mean when there's an age difference, people should not get married? Three things. Number one, there is no biblical requirement that the man is older. It means you cannot say, thus says the Lord, that by the man marrying somebody younger, that he has made a mistake, that he has done something wrong. It's not a biblical issue. It's more of a cultural issue. Those challenges I've just described are the challenges you have to think about. But if you're able to manage them, go right ahead and marry. But you should be aware those challenges will come. How will you manage them? Don't talk about how to manage them after you are married. Discuss them before marriage, so that both of you can see, do I still want to face those problems? Am I ready for them? But sometimes there is so much love between the two of them, they can go over any problem. But let the love be tested before the wedding day. How am I going to deal with it? So the first thing is, there is no biblical requirement that the man is older. There is no biblical prohibition that if a woman is older, that there is an evil. You cannot tell somebody, because they are marrying somebody older, there's a biblical error that they have actually entered into. It will be important that we understand the Bible does not condemn any two people that know. The only thing is, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 39. You are free to marry anyone, but they must belong to the Lord. So whether the person is older or younger, the Bible allows you to marry them, as long as they are totally sold to God. That man, whether old or young, has he surrendered his life totally to God? That girl, old or young, has she surrendered? If she has, number one. Number two, if you have considered the challenges. Number three, if you have enough love to go over those challenges, then you can marry somebody despite the age difference. And there's an issue that, like I was saying earlier, it's an issue that we need to deal with. We have seen many people marry. Sometimes people of the same age marry, but they can't stand each other. Because every marriage is a potentially problematic issue. Because people have different personalities, different genders, different backgrounds, different wealth levels, and those problems can be a problem. Those issues can become a problem in marriage. So age is one of them, but age in itself is not the problem. It is the implications that age brings and the problem that come thereof because of that age difference. And so we need to come to where we enter into marriage with the priority issues, and I've told you priority is, are you born again? Are they unquestionably born again? Number two, do we have enough love to cover the challenges that our marriage is likely to face? Number three, have you discussed the possible challenges? Whether you are marrying across races, there will be challenges that come because of the race. Whether you are marrying across ages, there will be challenges that come because of the age. Whether you are marrying across wealth levels, there will be challenges. Is there enough love to deal with them?
Thank you so much, Mr. Ng'ang'a. We've come to the end of our program tonight. We've been discussing Am I Called to Marriage? And we've discussed a lot, like what's the best time to get married? How can you be psychologically ready for marriage? That is, be accepting and believing in yourself. Now have a blessed night. I'm your host, Mercy Kerry. See you next time, same place. Good night.